God, I beg. What I do, as long as I'm doing my interview today, is the man I'm going to meet. Hey. In his mind, he felt like he had set a trap for me and I'll fall in that trap. But he doesn't know that we are smart. I read now meeting Namha. Don't go and kill your father if your father is not dead.
I'm outside in an AMG, right outside, TT, two-turn baby girl, you know me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sheila-kate, aka Big Sheila for a reason and Big Sheila with a vibe. If you don't know what now you know. Today's video we'll be talking about my F1 visa interview experience. So if you watch my travel vlog, which is the one before this one, you remember me saying that I did my visa interview in Ivory Coast. So let me tell you how I even ended up there in the first place. After I got admission to my school, the next thing was for me to, get a date for my visa interview. If you're in Ghana, you know that getting dates in Ghana is a challenge. That's even why it's called date hunt, because it's going to be so hard for you to get a date. And even if you get a date, it's not going to be a favorable date. So when I was ready to do mine, I wasn't getting a date. That's when I heard from other people that you could actually do your visa interview at any US consulate or embassy. It doesn't necessarily have to be your home country. So I knew a couple of people that were going to Ivory Coast. I know a couple of people that were going to Cote d'Ivoire. So I'm like, you know what? I don't mind as long as I'm going to get my date and leave this country. Why not? So I applied. I did everything. Everything was set for my interview, which was in that my first date was in September. So I started preparing, right? I started getting ready for this visa interview. I asked a couple of friends that, oh, can you guys, help me? What do I need to know? Like, what's the gist? I'm ready. I have a date. What do I need to know? The very first person I asked was like my mentor back in school, or whatever. But he's in America now. So when I asked him, he was like, okay, so where are you going to do your interview? I told him Ivory Coast. I told him Cote d'Ivoire. Then he was like, Sheila, what? Why are you going to Cote d'Ivoire? I said, what do you mean why? I didn't get a date in Ghana, so I got in Ivory Coast. He said, haven't you heard that they are not favorable to Ghanaians? And what even made it worse was the fact that I didn't get any funding. I just had admission and vibes. That was it. I had nothing, no financial assistance whatsoever. Then he told me that Sheila is going to be honest with me. I got a first class, so why don't I just let go of this opportunity, apply to other schools? I am definitely going to get better funding opportunity somewhere. So she just lets go of everything and then yeah, find something else. But it was paining me that I would have to let everything, like all the amounts of money I spent at that point, I was letting everything go down the drain. So I didn't listen. I went someone else. And the person said the same thing. Around that time, I joined some groups, some WhatsApp groups of people going, Ghanaians who are going for their interview in Ivory Coast or in Cote d'Ivoire. And it it was terrible. Every single day, someone will literally send a voice note to the group. Guys, if you're still in Ghana and you haven't gone for your interview yet, please don't come to. Nobody should come to Cote d'Ivoire. Nobody should come to Cote d'Ivoire because they are bouncing people. If you haven't done your interview yet, don't come. Guys, I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. So you just be there early morning, wake up, go and check the group. It's the same thing over and over again. There was even one time they were like, the whole of today, no Ghanaian has been approved. So don't come. If it's not too late, just go to Ghana. But me, I said I'll go because I might as well just go for them to tell me that I won't give you rather than assume that I won't get. Even though the odds clearly were not in my favor because, like I said, I didn't have assistantship, I didn't have funding, nothing, no tuition waiver, nothing. I just had admission and vibes and the grace of God. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? They said don't me like this. If you tell me don't do something, that is when I'll do it. So I said me, I'll do it. I'll go for them, tell me that hey, you're not getting your visa. So that I'll know how it ends than just assume that I might not go and get it. My initial date was in September, but I managed to move it to an earlier date, which was August 29th. So I left Ghana on the 27th, which was on a Sunday, and my interview was on a Tuesday. Now, in the car to Ivory Coast, it was the longest ride I'd ever been on because it looked as if I was being led to the slaughterhouse. And funny enough, there was a couple of Ghanaians too, and they were all in the same group. So the journey to Ivory Coast was so quiet and so sad. But I met this one girl over there, right? And she was like, "Oh, so did you use Uncle? I don't know the name. I don't remember. I think Uncle Thomas or something. Did you use Uncle Thomas?" I said, who's Uncle Thomas?" He said, "Oh, you didn't use Uncle Thomas. Because when I did it for me, he told me I'll get it." So I asked, did he do like the admission process for you, or he did the visa in? So you have the visa. You're just going for formality's sake. Like, what did he do for you? She sounded so positive. She was going to get. She said, "Oh, I because the Obenya should get." I said, "Okay." I mean, the way she was confident made it look like because me too, I didn't use anybody. I did everything on my own. So what is she trying to say? Anyways, I met this one guy that he was actually the only Ghanaian. He was the only one in that hostel. So the hostel I stayed in was a hostel for mainly for people who are coming to do their visa interview in Cote d'Ivoire, mainly for Ghanaians. So when I went, I asked him, "Oh, Charlie, what's up? Where's everybody?" That's when he told me that all the people he came with, everybody he came with, they were all bounced, they were all rejected. So they all went home. He's the only one there who's waiting for his visa. I said, Charlie. So basically, the guy was giving me tips. He was telling me, "Oh, do this, don't do that, do that, do that." Now he told me that when you go, you're going to meet two people. You're going to meet a man and a woman. The man has a very high denial rate or rejection rate, but the woman has a very high approval rate. So he told me that whatever you do, make sure you go to the woman. So me in my head, I know that I am going to the woman. Whatever happens, come what may, I'm going to the woman. The following day on a Tuesday, it started raining out of nowhere. I ordered a yango. If you've gone to Cote d'Ivoire, you know that they mostly use yangos. I ordered a yango. The yango didn't come early. I was supposed to be there at 10:15, but then I ended up being so late or exactly on time, not too sure. I got there, I got to the place, I was drenched in rain. I literally had to run. Eventually, when I got to that place, the embassy, I saw this girl coming out. You should have seen the girl's face. The girl's face was so gloomy, and she was holding a paper. That's when I found out that, oh, the girl didn't get it. Meanwhile, this girl was so confident she was going to get. At that point, I mean, I was getting scared. I was getting nervous. But Charlie, I'm already here. What's the worst that could happen? You bounce me. I'll go to my house. You can't do anything else than bounce me. It was really raining heavily, so everyone had to go inside. When you go inside, you're going to be the security man. He will check your documents, blah blah blah, make sure everything is set. Then he told me to go to this particular woman. I went to the woman. I think she took my details or whatever. The woman told me to go to the next door. But because I was so nervous and I was so scared, because entering that place, right? You know how they say as quiet as a cemetery? In fact, it should be as quiet as US Embassy. Ah, the place was so quiet and the tension in that room. The tension, there are people there, but the place is quiet. You can hear your heart beat. I'm not exaggerating. That's how quiet the place was. So when I entered, I just started getting nervous all of a sudden. The woman told me to go to the next door and I was going out. They started shouting at me, "I told you to go here." I said, Hunty, don't bring. I didn't say that, but in my head, I'm like, I'm already stressed. Don't come and add your own to it. Why? Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I said in my head. She told me to go to the next woman. The next one took my details, your biometrics, wine, all of that jazz. Then she told me to join the queue. So the queue was the actual visa interview queue. Do you get what I mean? Honestly, I was shitting in my pants. I was that nervous. I didn't really listen to everything. So I was in the queue for like 5 minutes. Remember, I told you they told me to go to the man, right? They told me to go to the woman. So I looked around. I said, it looks like it's just one man that is doing the interview. So I thought, oh, maybe the woman has gone for break. She has gone for lunch. She's going to the washroom, or she's gone for breakfast. I said, okay, let me just wait a bit so that I'll see. I'll start doing my calculation. Whether I'll go here, I'll go here. You know that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I waited for 5 minutes. This woman didn't come. That's when it dawned on me that, like, whatever I do, if I like, I should somersault, I should faint, whatever. I'm not saying go and do that too, but I'm just saying that whatever I do, right, I'm still going to meet the man that they said he has a high rejection rate, the one they said I should avoid. No, he's the one I was going to meet. I started freaking out. I was freaking out because, mind you, I had no funding. Mind you, in the queue, people with funding, people with graduate assistantship, people with jobs, people with any sort of financial assistance, they were just being rejected left and right. You'll be there now. I'm sorry, I cannot give you a visa. I wish you all the best. Hey, I'm so sorry. No, no, no. Hey, sorry, sorry. The man kept saying sorry, sorry, sorry. And no matter how quiet you think the room is, the room gets quieter anytime he bounces someone. At some point, like back to back to back rejections, like back. Hey. You know when your mom beats maybe your little brother for maybe stealing one chicken, they'll beat that one, and then you stole five. That's the feeling because they are rejecting people with scholarships and stuff like that. And then there's me. Now I had had nothing. I was petrified. I was nervous. I was scared. Mind you, I hadn't eaten for like 2 days because I didn't want a situation whereby I'll eat and then my tummy will be doing me. So I was so hungry. I was just tired, I hadn't slept. Oh my goodness. That was when I knew that at this point, I mean, If he's not gonna give it to me, fine. But I don't have to go down without putting a fight. So I went to the washroom. I asked the security man, "Oh, can I use the washroom?" He said, "Yeah." I went to the washroom. I went to give myself a pep talk. I was like, "Sheila, do you know this man from anywhere?" "No." "Have you paid everything?" Because at that point, at everything I spent at that point, it was like 10K. Because the service fee was like $350. The MRV was like 250. At that point, I'd spent almost 10,000 Ghana cedis. I'm not joking. Even coming to Ivory Coast, accommodation, all of that, everything was So at that point, I was like, Sheila, do you owe this man? No. Are your documents legit? Yes. Have you been rude to this man before? Do you even know him? No. After here, would you see him again? No. Would you see anyone again? No. So why are you nervous? Why are you scared? Why I was talking to myself in the mirror. I was like, why are you nervous? Why are you scared? For what reason? Would he beat you? No. The worst he can do is tell you, just sister, I won't give it to you. That's the worst he can do, is not to give this thing to you. And then who knows? Will it be written on your face that denied visa to America? No. So then why was I nervous? I looked at the mirror and I said, Sheila, we got this thing. So beat my chest 3 times. So they should remove. You know, the way I walked there and the way I came out, the confidence level which was used to come out in Ghana, we say Minya Gali. When I came out, I was walking gallantly. Because at this point, you know, if you show me anything, if you boss me, I'll go home, I'll go eat kinky. That was it. I joined the queue and then there was this man in front of me, he was moving to me. And you're very beautiful. Where are you from? Are you from Ghana? If you want to move to a girl, is this the right place? Can't you read the room? Is this the place to move to a girl? Honestly, I just kept looking at him like this. I didn't want to say anything because I was scared that if I say something, whatever I'd learned in my head or whatever I had in my head would just come out. That man, they sent him. They sent him, but he didn't see me. He didn't find me. And apparently, he had already been to America so many times, so he was very confident he was going to get it. Then I went next. But before I even went, right, when I came back from the washroom, I started to pay attention. Like I was hearing things, but I wasn't listening. Do you understand? I was hearing things, I wasn't listening. That's why I started to pay attention to what was happening. And if you've done your research, if you prep for this thing, you know that there are some things you don't necessarily have to do. There are some do's and don'ts. An example of things you're not supposed to do. There's no reason for you to be nervous, because once you're nervous, once you're scared, so scared that you cannot even make complete sentences, you cannot even speak clearly, it kind of gives the wrong signals. It makes you suspicious. It makes it look like you're hiding something. Maybe your documents or something are not legit. Do you get that thing? So even though we are all nervous, try not to be so nervous that you can't speak. Do you get it? And the next thing is try not to give incomplete and short answers. So an example, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm going to school. So you know, like what are you doing here? Oh, okay, or maybe they ask who's sponsoring your education. You go like, oh, my mother, your mother, and so what? If you give those answers, it's just a total no. They are going to bounce you. So I got all of those things from watching thousands and thousands of YouTube videos like this one. When I started paying attention, I realized that the man wasn't bouncing people for fun. He wasn't rejecting people for fun. He was rejecting them based on it. Got to some point I was playing the game where I'll be like, oh, this one will get approved, and choose the person will get approved based on how they were answering the questions. And sometimes to your stand, because there was this one guy, hey, that guy, the guy, no, the guy was fighting with the English and he was losing. His subjects and his verbs, they were disagreeing. E. And what even made it worse was that he was like, oh, he's a lecturer. He was saying something. He was like, oh, after he's done, he'll come back and come and teach his students. And the visa officer was like, what? Wait, what students? He said, I'm a lecturer. He said, oh, you're a lecturer. In his head, lecturer that you can't speak English. I mean, come on. If you're planning on going to do a visa interview, regardless of whatever visa it is, you don't necessarily have to use big grammar per se, but then you need to make simple, complete sentences that anyone can understand. Do you understand? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So when I was doing that game, oh, this one will get approved, the person got approved, this one will get denied, the person will get denied. I sensed some bit of confidence that I was on the right path. So then the man left. It was my turn. He called me. He was like, this guys, Guys, let me tell you what I wore. So I wore my favorite dress. I have this dress that I think I'll put a video somewhere. Anytime I wear that dress, good things happen to me. I feel like that's my lucky dress. I left it back in Ghana though, but then that dress, that particular dress, anytime I wear that dress, I get good stuff happen to me. So I wore that dress, my hair, no makeup. My hair was just in a ponytail, simple slippers. Don't go and worry yourself and do makeup, heavy makeup, you're wearing lashes. I mean, if you are that comfortable enough to do it, fine. But then me, I was so nervous, I knew I couldn't do eyebrow. Don't wear heels. I mean, just be comfortable. Wear something, basically just make sure you look presentable. Don't look like they're working fashion against you and the visa officer. Don't do that. Just make sure you look nice. I mean, don't do too much, but make sure you look nice. So me, I was looking cute. I mean, as usual, I was looking cute. And then I went there, and the first thing I did was, "Hi, good morning." Okay, I didn't say hi. I said, "Good morning." He said, "Good morning. How are you?" I said, "I'm good. Yourself?" Come on, come on. The very first question he asked me when I stepped back to him was, "What's the purpose for going to the US?" This is exactly what I said. I remember because you know how they go, the first impression counts, right? It's the same thing when you go to the US embassy. The very first question is going to make or break you. They know when you're going to get approved based on the very first question. They know whether they're going to give it to you or reject you based on the very first question they ask, and then based on the answer you give them. So the very first question he asked me was, "What's my purpose for going to the US?" And this is exactly what I said. I told him that I'm going to the US to pursue a 2 year master's program in public administration at the University of South Dakota with concentration in blah 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 blah. And I went ahead to tell him that I initially got admission into the fourth semester, but then due to the fact that my F1 visa interview date was close to the start date of the fourth semester, I emailed the school and they advised that I defer to the spring semester. That's how come the date of my I-20 is in January. The start date of my I-20 is in January. So I kid you know, this is what he did. When I said that, he was like, "Wait, what?" And he went over to go and cross check, and he was like, "Oh, that makes sense." The way I answered that question just proves to him that I'm trustworthy, one, and two, I know what I'm doing. A lot of people go there and they don't even know their left from their rights because someone did it for them. Do you understand? So they don't know anything. But then me telling him that made him understand that I actually have an idea of what I'm saying. The next question he asked was, "Why this program? Why this school?" Then he asked, "How many schools did I apply to?" So if you apply to two schools, just tell him, "Oh, you applied to this school and that school, and then you got admission to this school. And if you had any scholarship whatsoever, you tell them." Then he asked, "Who's going to sponsor my education?" And this is, I told him that it was I told him that my auntie in the person of Madame so and so and so is the one sponsoring my education. She has been taking care of me since I lost my dad in blah blah blah. It, don't go and kill your father if your father is not dead. Me, my father true is dead, so I had to say that. But if you know your father is not dead, don't go and lie you because if they catch you. The next question he asked was what my background is, or if I had a bachelor's degree or something. Remember, I said I didn't have any funding whatsoever, so I had to give him my good points. I had to sell myself to him, right? So I had to make him know that I had got a first class. So when he asked that, I told him that I had a bachelor's degree in political science and Russian language with a GPA of 3.6. You know, I was about to finish telling him my GPA when he cut in. He didn't really cut in like he was asking a question. It was him more like, oh, affirming to what he was saying, like, oh, he was typing, he was like, oh, Russian literature, interesting. So I stopped midway and I was like, wait, no, I didn't say Russian literature. I said Russian language because I was wearing a nose mask and then there was a glass in between us. So I thought he didn't hear. I came closer and I was like, Russian language. He was like this. She's like in his mind, he thought he had started traveling, but he doesn't know that we are thinking. Girls are all wild. So I stopped him, I corrected him. And I felt like that was a big move because if I hadn't done that, it would look as though I didn't know the program I did in school. Like, how can you say your program and they'll mention the same program back to you and then you don't know that the person made a mistake? I feel like that was a trick. That was a test. If I had failed that test, he probably wouldn't have given it to me too. Do you get it? So pay attention. Listen, most times you just hear something and then people just start rattling, but they don't really listen to all. They don't really understand the question they are being asked because the question sounds familiar, just start answering. Do you understand? Then the next thing he asked was, um what are my postgraduate plans? The same, told me that, oh, I plan on coming back and joining faculty, the permanent members of my department, faculty permanent members of my department, join a higher position, stuff like those things. I don't remember exactly what I said, but then that's what I said. But yeah, uh then at that point he was like, He stopped, and he just kept typing. I knew it had come to the end. No, then he asked me, before that, he asked me, how much are the permanent faculty members paid in my department? Another thing, if you don't know, you could just give a range, because if it's like between 5,000 to 10,000 Ghana cedis, just give a range. If you're sure to, just say what you know. But if you're not too sure, don't go and do, oh, I don't know. I don't go and do that. If you don't know a question that is being asked, find a way to answer the question without telling him that I don't know. Do you understand? So this is what happened, right? He asked me, where's my school located? Funny enough, he never asked anyone before me, oh, but he asked me where my school was located. And I told him, well, obviously, I told him I was going to the University of South Dakota. So obviously, my school is located in South Dakota. But then the fact that he's asking me where my school was located, I realized that I can't just go and tell him South Dakota and state the obvious. Do you understand? So I told him, oh, Vermilion, South Dakota. Then he was like, what? I said, Vermilion, South Dakota. He was like, what? Vermilion, South Dakota. He asked me like 3 times. At that point, I started doubting myself. Why? Am I wrong or something? Or what is happening? But I remember very well that I filled everything. I did everything. So I knew where my school was. I knew the city and everything. So I was 100% sure. But the guy was making me doubt myself. He kept asking, what? What? I don't know if he was trying to intimidate me to change my answer or something, but because I did it myself, I was 100% confident that that school is located in Vermilion. So he was like, what? I said, Vermilion. What? Vermilion. Then he was like, oh, okay. Turns out that he has actually been there before. Like he knows there. I don't know if it was a test, but then I passed the test. Then after he was like, "Oh, have you been to South Dakota before? Do you know it's cold?" I said, "Yes, I'm aware. I know it's cold. I know it's cold, but I'm aware. I'm prepared. I'm ready for it." And he laughed. So just be careful. Don't go and lie, because most of these visa officers, they've also gone to school there. It was surprised that that school that you think no one knows, maybe he went there, or his mother went there, or his child is there, or something like that. So he might ask you questions, and if you think you can outsmart your way and lie, that's why I also say that make sure you are 100% involved in this whole process, because if you're not, there are ways by which they can tell and then they'll catch you. So imagine he asked me, I didn't know. What will I go and say Mamprobi and our school is located in Mamprobi? How? Do you get it? But luckily I knew it because I literally did everything on my own. So after that, he just kept typing for a long time. And that's when I knew that we'd come to the end of the interview. So if he moved his hands to the right, he was going to pick my passport and he was going to get a yellow sheet. And I, because we use this yellow sheet, I think I'll post it somewhere so you see what I'm talking about. And if he goes over there, you know that if he goes over here, you know that he's going to pick a white sheet or something, and that means you won't get. So at that point, whilst he was typing, I was just there. I was like, God, I beg. You know how there's this meme on Twitter where inside you're freaking out too, but outside composure, 100% composure. That's what I was doing. In my head, I'm like, God, I beg, God, I beg, God, I beg, because I knew that I killed the interview. I knew that interview went well. I didn't stammer. I killed the question. I did justice to the question. So at that point, I was feeling very confident. I was like, God, I beg, God, I beg. He was like, congratulations, your visa has been approved. Come on Thursday for your passport. I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I was so excited. So we've come to the end of my F1 visa interview experience. I hope this video helps you a bit. If you're watching me and you are going for your interview anytime soon, I wish you all the best. And let me know how it goes. Let me know if this video was helpful. And if you're just watching for fun, thank you so much. But if you were watching and maybe you're rejected the first time, it's all good. I mean, just make sure you strategize and go back. And I wish you all the best. I know that it's still Big Sheila for a reason. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.